like, dude, I gotta go. We gotta go do some podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with the 95 traffic, so I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be like a factor. But
I got stuck in a little bit.
Yeah, this is a cool tournament though, and it's a good cause with Epilepsy Alliance and Adam Adachi and all those guys doing some pretty good work over there.
Yeah, and I met Adam. His daughter is, that's how we got into it. She's had some of those issues, and years ago, we got her in the pool and get her out underwater, and she loves mermaids. She comes with Little Mermaid dolls and swims them around, and just this week with one of our partners, Thresher, we got her up to the Blue Heron Bridge. First time she went
we had already podcasted about Thresher, and I'm sure that name is going to come up at some point during this show.
Yeah, well, Brad, I was golfing with him today. He was on our foursome. So
Brad was there today?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I didn't even see him.
Yeah.
Cool guy.
He was on our foursome. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to officially announce the show here, right? And and I just wanted to preface this by saying I think we got some pretty cool guests here today, and that they're doing a lot of good in our local community here. So this is the Connected by Water podcast, fueled by our very good friends at Papa's PLR Rum. Remind you never to be a spectator. We highly encourage you to check out the latest Papa's release, limited edition Legacy 2023. This special edition rum has been aged in French oak casks and honors the great surfing legend Greg Knoll. In fact, Papa's PLR Rum founder Stephen Grote goes as far as saying, much like Ernest Hemingway, Greg Knoll was larger than life. He was a surfing trailblazer, but also a committed craftsman. This duality, daring exploration, and meticulous craftsmanship not only applies to these legends, but is the heart of the Papa's PLR brand, and we cheers to that, right? So cheers everybody to Papa's for helping us keep the lights on around here. Okay. And listen, here we go. We are a Waypoint hosted podcast. You can find us there or watch, listen, and do not forget to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Hit that like button, and please, we would love to hear from you in the comments or by email at sales@connectedbywater.com. But before we begin, we must, and we would like to, introduce today's guest. We want to announce this week's Starbright Do-Gooder of the week, because we do that every week. And this week's newest members of hashtag Team Do-Gooder is Greg Rapp, the owner of Sea Leveler Charters, and his captain Garen Mallon up there in the Indian River area. They are being rewarded by none other than Starbright's conservation director Corey Redwine herself for being constant shining examples of picking up trash on a daily basis. Day in, day out, they are doing the dirty work at work. So congrats, Greg and Garen, on being this week's Starbright's Do-Gooder. So congrats to them. And remember, folks, if you want to nominate and recognize a do-gooder in your area, just message us on Instagram at Connected by Water, at Dennis Friel Art, or Derek and Corey Redwine at SEA Redwine, at Derek at D Redwine Art. And your nominee could win a very special Starbright Solutions prize pack worth over $200. So thank you very much, everybody. As always, we'd like to say thank you to Papa's Pilar and Starbright for your great support of our show. And without further ado, thank you very much for withstanding that sponsorship storm. Joe Grote, thank you very much for being here today. And Carl Trays, Dr. Carl's behind the bar. Yeah, man. Right? You're no stranger to the show, right? Both of you guys are fellow members of the Lighthouse Point Saltwater Sportsmen Association, yes, so it's always nice to have fellow family members in here from the LHPSSA. Sorry, I always get tongue-tied with that one. Yep. And Katie Anderson.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
From Lauderdale By The Sea. Thank you very much for coming into the studio and hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Excited to be here.
Yeah, nice. And Sabrina Dionne. Yes. Did I say that correctly, Dionne, right? Yeah. Thank you very much for coming in here today and sharing us your time, right? So we are going to talk about Scuba4Good, right? So right off the bat, what I want you to do for me, Joe, is explain to me what Scuba4Good is.
Yeah, well, simple terms, Scuba4Good is a program that tries to make scuba diving more accessible to kids, adults, vets with disabilities, just to get them to dive more here in South Florida.
Nice.
So, yeah, been doing it for a while, and it's been going pretty well.
So this is very similar to if folks saw the Thresher Aquatics episode that we did probably like over a year ago, wasn't it? Now,
yeah, it might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a little while ago. So it's very similar to that. And you were explaining to me the other day that you kind of cross over and work in collaboration with other organizations, right? And we love that at Connected by Water, because for us, Connected by Water, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
it's all about working as a team, and how's it go? The rising tide rises all boats, right? We say that a lot around here, but I can never say it right.
But I think we got the message out, right?
Right, exactly.
No, Thresher is one of our partners. So when I've been doing this for 12, 13 years. We've been volunteering with Adaptive Scuba, and we were looking a lot of things, see what's going on, and our whole thing was, man, we just don't dive enough, right? There's a lot of great things going on, a lot of trips to the Keys, to Cozumel, all this type of stuff. And I'm like, man, right here in South Florida, there's a lot of diving, Lauderdale by the Sea, there's shore diving right there. We got the Blue Heron Bridge, we got all that stuff. So we went out, and instead of making another group, because there's several of them that take people with disabilities diving, we thought, let's try to make all them better. And that's kind of what we focused on, and that's what we've done. So Thresher, they're a partner. Mm-hmm. In fact, they just certified a couple people. They take on our scholarships that we provide for adaptive divers. We have Dive for Vets, we have Aquanauts, barrier-free divers. They actually started their organization based on using our program to get funding to start their program. They're out of Key Largo. They do a summer camp for kids with diving and coral restoration and all that type of stuff.
Right.
And we go all the way up to Jupiter Dive Center, who works with another partner called Life Waters that as well takes people with disabilities diving. So what we tried to do is we've been doing this for a while. People get involved, and it was just hard to get out diving because everyone's doing this volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
And to get certified, we find someone that wants to get certified. No one wants to take their money, So we, and then it was like, well, no, I'll do it, but I can't do it this week. And then you got the scheduling, and it would take forever. So we have this music festival that we'll be talking about. It started out as a party at my house. We raised money, and we just said, well, why don't we just provide scholarships so we can pay people to get people certified.
Right.
And then once they get certified, we help pay for their diving. And our goal at Scuba4Good, all we care about is we want to get people to dive safely, either in a pool or dive more here in the thing. So that's what we worked on, and we saw that the accessibility, to make it more accessible, it wasn't, we get trained as buddies how to get people with disabilities on and off the boat, or get them on and in and out of the water, to take them diving, to how to get them around. That wasn't the accessibility issue. It's cost. Scuba diving is expensive. Mm-hmm. All the people that are helping are, a lot of times, especially before, we're doing as volunteers, so there's like a bottleneck there. And we think we broke the bottleneck by, being able to raise some money and be able to pay for it and treat it just like if I went diving or I need to get certified. So.
That's awesome. And I want to talk about the money, but in a second, first I want to bring up the event real quick, just in the front of the show, just so people can hear about that right away. It's in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, June 1st.
Yeah, June 1st, right down the street here.
Right here at Lauderdale by the Sea. And Katie is from
Prado
there.
Park, right?
El Prado Park, and the adjacent parking lots across the street from there.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's great. We've been doing the Music Fest with Lauderdale by the Sea as part of Bugfest. Mm-hmm. And then it transitioned over to the Dive into Summer event that they're doing, and just really amped it up. Last year was our first year doing it that way. 2,000 to 2,500 people, I think, showed up.
Yeah, it was a big turnout.
Yeah, and it's been great. Lauderdale by the Sea, even from the days of Bugfest starting it up till now, it's just been a great partner with us and help us out. And we're just glad to help them hopefully make their Dive into Summer event better.
That's awesome. I wanted to bring that up like in the front of the show just so everyone really clearly heard about it, because I can't really emphasize enough how an important event. This is to your organization.
Yeah.
And also, not only that, but also to the city. So, Katie, if you could kind of explain to us the city of Lauderdale by the Sea's relationship with Scuba4Good and all the other events that you guys are doing to raise awareness to your local community.
Sure, absolutely. So last year was our inaugural Dive into Summer music festival event with Scuba4Good. As Joe mentioned, they were involved in the event that town had previously put on called Bugfest, which was done for many years prior to last year. The Bugfest event, the inception of Bugfest, was really inspired in large part by a desire to drive tourism into the local hotels and businesses. And was really specifically targeted at individuals that were participating in lobster mini season. So over that weekend, since 10 years ago, the needs of town have shifted some, all for the positive. We're very fortunate, especially with our downtown enhancement project being done, to be up and running and bustling. And so, kind of taking another 30-foot look at it, we said, I think it's time that we maybe reevaluate this. And what we really wanted to do was open it up to an event that the entire community could enjoy and partake in. An event that highlights an incredible cause with Scuba4Good, that celebrates our proximity and connection to the ocean and the coastal ecosystems that we have right there, and then really provide, an outlet to have a safe and fun environment for our residents and neighbors to all come together and enjoy. So, we had connected with the Scuba4Good team, and they were on board with kind of making this shift. So we said, instead of just the one evening, we'd really like to make this a whole, long day afternoon music festival. So, 4 or 5 bands, local vendor village comprised of all local artisans that are ocean coastal centric, just to kind of keep with the vibe that we've got going.
We love all that.
Exactly.
Yep.
No, we're really big on, giving back to the community and trying to incorporate all of our communities. So we'll have an artist and vendor village that we're really excited about. Some of the sponsors with Scuba4Good will also be participating, so it's great to be able to give them some additional exposure as well. Food, beverages, all the proceeds going to Scuba4Good at the bar and the beverage stations. And then some other, fun groups, Broward Sheriff's Office, and some other kind of environmental components that'll be interactive. So kid-friendly, family-friendly. So we're really, really looking forward to June 1st.
I love it, and I love that the town is getting on board with this, like 10 toes in, as we've been kind of saying for the past few weeks. Like that's been like our new saying, like 10 toes in, like be committed, like don't just do anything like halfway, just like be all in. So Sabrina,
we're gonna have some amazing bands too. Amazing local bands.
So like
exciting.
Some of the bands you were telling me about sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So, we have Michael Daly's band, and he plays down at
he
fishery.
plays it.
He's
at the
fisheries.
fisheries. He's all over.
And his band, they're going to start it off. We have a band called Buck Stops Here. They play like funky reggae kind of funk band and stuff like that. They're pretty awesome. Yeah, they play around. Band last year was the crowd favorite, Captain Pig. They're coming on.
Yeah, you were telling me about them.
They rocked it. Yeah, they were pretty awesome. And then this year, headlining is going to be Uproot Hootenanny.
Nice.
So they
can't go wrong there.
They're awesome.
Yeah, you can't. That's like the best band in the land around here.
They do well. So come out, support them all, and it's a good time. We also have this year we're adding a VIP section, so it'll have open bar, some food options there. Some different seating, all that type of stuff to chill out there. We have a raffle that we put on. We get between $15,000-$20,000 in different prizes. We have a trip to Cozumel, a trip to Bonaire, all that type of stuff in there to just try to raise money. And just say 100% of the money goes straight to either a scholarship for an adaptive diver, their adaptive buddies, or once they get certified, we pay for subsidize their diving, that if they go out anywhere here between Jupiter or Key Largo.
Nice.
They go diving.
Nice. Yeah, so you're a participant, Sabrina, right?
Yeah.
I want to really dive into, like, lack of a better term.
I
really want to dive into that with you.
Very original.
I didn't realize I was saying that. But explain to me what this organization means to you. if you can, like in your own
Yeah,
words?
definitely. So for me, I'm a person with a disability myself. So I'm a spinal cord injury. You won't tell now because I'm sitting in here, but I actually use a wheelchair. And that's kind of how I got in contact with Joe. So I always adored like going into the water and always like surfing and doing a whole bunch of stuff. But every time I looked at scuba diving, it never crossed my mind that a person with a disability was able to do scuba diving. And it wasn't until I went on a cruise ship that I actually, how like Royal Caribbean has like a patty store on the cruise ship. I started talking with them and I was like, yeah, I wish I could do this. And they're like, you actually can. And I was like, I can. And then that's when they're like, yeah, look up adaptive diving. And so when I got back, I just Googled adaptive diving in South Florida. And then Joe's Scuba4Good showed up. Well, at the time it wasn't Scuba4Good. This was back in 2019 when they were partnered with Dive Heart. And so that's what popped up. And I called the number, which happened to be Joe's cell phone number. And he's like, yeah, next week we're having a session in the pool at Lauderdale by the, or not Lauderdale by the Coral Ridge Yacht Club. And it's literally down the street from me. I'm like, I could walk to it. And so I was like, sweet, I'll be there. So got my doctor to sign off on the form, went in. And I'm not going to lie, the first 3 times I went, I almost quit.
Nerve-wracking, huh?
Nerve-wracking as heck.
But you told us when you got there, you're like, I'm terrified of this.
I gotta think that's got to be a hard thing to break into.
The very first thing I said to Joe, Joe's like, you're going to love this. And all that. I said, look, I'm going to tell you right now, I just want to do the pool. I'm not crazy. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the ocean. I'm really scared of it. I just want to, do it in the pool. And he's like, okay, let's try it. And I did it. I couldn't get past the, like the stairs. And then, because, this, like when you've never done it before, you go underwater and they tell you like, just breathe, always breathe, never stop breathing. First thing you do when you're underwater, when you've never done it, hold your breath. And so after, a couple seconds, I would pop up and be like, this is crazy. I can't do this. And so I did it, that first time. I didn't like it, and so I came out.
Do you feel like you weren't in control? I mean,
I couldn't get the concept of breathe underwater, let the equipment do the work. I just didn't understand that, and so it was all in the mind, right? Literally. And so I went, didn't say anything to anybody. A couple weeks passed by, then I get a call from Joe. He's like, "Hey, next month we have another Scuba4Good event. Do you want to come?" I'm like, I'm not sure. But then he convinced me. He's like, just try it. It's in the pool. It's in a safe area. You're surrounded by adaptive buddies. They're all certified. I was like, yeah, you're right. Let me try it. So I did it again, got a little bit farther. This was like November. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do it. Again, I told him I'm never going in the ocean. I'm just going to do it in the pool. But deep down, I really wanted to go in the ocean because that was the whole...
That's the whole point.
The whole point. Yeah. And when I was on the boat and seeing everybody do the shores, I was like, man, I wish I can do that. But mentally, I wasn't prepared. And then December came around. He was Santa Claus in the deep end. And that time, he was like, you're going to come see me in the deep end. And I didn't make it. But Brad was at this event, which you guys know Brad.
Yep, that's right.
And he saw like how I was freaking out. He took me aside. He's like, look, I'm going to give you, every time you come to time, I'm going to be one-on-one with you, and I'm going to help you get through this. And after that, it was history. After I partnered up with Brad, he just slowly, just patiently took me one step at a time. And then finally I got certified with him, and he took me out on my first dive. And then after that one dive, I saw a turtle and I was like, that's it. Hooked. And I've been hooked ever since. And, I've been at so many dives now. I've been all over the place. And what Scuba4Good does for me personally is that it gives me independence. Like, that's the biggest thing for a person with a disability. And Joe made a good point of, it's hard to just pick up the phone when you have even able body. I think it's hard to just call a dive shop and be like, hey, I want to go diving this weekend. Put me on the boat. No matter if you have a disability or not, you have that fear. Is the boat going to be safe? Is the people on the boat, perfectly trained? Is it,
Are they going to be cool?
Are they going to be, yeah, exactly. Are they going to be cool? Am I going to, be left out in the ocean? There's a lot of things that go to it. But when you add the disability part to it, it makes it 10 times worse, because now I have to think about, is there going to be enough people on the boat to help me during an emergency, or even getting me on and off the boat? When I'm in the water, getting back into the boat, like, a lot goes into it. And so I have to be very sure that they're properly trained and all that. And that's what Scuba4Good does, is that we make sure that through the partners, everyone's perfectly trained. They know what to do in case of emergency. They know what to do with me, just with my disability. And so it eliminates my fear when I go. And now I just pick up the phone and call pretty much any dive shop that has a certified buddy program.
Yep.
And like I go to Jupiter, I can just call them up and be like, hey, I'll be there tomorrow. Can I come dive? They make it so easy. And I get there and there's adaptive buddies on site. And then if they don't have it, I can just call up one of our partners, which I've done multiple times, and just be like, hey, I want to go diving next week. Do you have any adaptive buddies? And they do.
That's outstanding that network has been established.
It's incredible.
And I can't help but think that Scuba4Good is a huge part of getting that network together, right?
Yeah.
Big time.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was when one of the things we looked at. I'm like, why does this have to be different than if I want to go diving?
Segmented, right?
Right.
Like,
why does it have to, in fact, why does it have to be adaptive? Like,
we are
and
family
why is it
here,
separate?
right?
And why do we have to make special things and stuff? And I'm like, man, there are adaptive dive certifications. There are people that do it. So when we looked at, I mean, if I want to go diving, I got to call a couple buddies, right, that's certified, and they got to go, and we go. But if they can't go, I go on the boat. They hook me up with some divers to buddy up with, and then we go diving. Pick a day that I feel comfortable going. When it's flat, or if my daughter goes, it's definitely got to be more flat than for me. But so that's what we want to develop the program to help. Is not only does it help go trips to Cozumel and Bimini and all these types of things, is why does it need to be any different? And we wanted to create this community of adaptive dive buddies and adaptive divers. So when she wants to go diving, just like she says, she'll call up one of our partners, Jupiter Dive Center, Aquatic Ventures,
Dive for
Vets, all those guys. And the way that we do our program is everything is kind of behind the scenes. So if Sabrina wants to go diving, she's got to go with 3 buddies. It'll cost her over $300, to go, because she's got to pay for the buddies to get on the boat and all that. So we pay the first $200 of it, but she doesn't even know it. She calls up and she goes, hey, I want to go. They say you need buddies, or put them on there. That's fine. They just knock $200 over, whatever it cost, and they kind of hit us up on the back end, and then we provide a donation back to them to cover that $200.
Awesome.
Yeah, and same thing with the certifications. In fact, the guy I was talking to at the golf tournament, he's like, yeah, one of our vets, they went with aquanauts and just got certified. It was awesome. And I was like, well, don't know for sure, but I mean, they get funding from the VA. They don't double dip with us, but I'm like, good chance they probably got a scholarship from us as well to help fund that, to get that. So that's, and just to kind of say the impact of what we've been able to do. When we first started, like when I retired and stuff, we said, let's try to really get this thing going. Our first goal was 10 adaptive divers and 30 adaptive dives is what we thought we'd do in a year. And that was big numbers back then. That was about 3 or 4 years ago. Last year, we got 50 adaptive divers certified through our partners. We went on 160 adaptive dives. And I think it was something like 75 adaptive buddies that we had certified to go out there. Good job. Yeah. So we've developed this community. And quite frankly,
right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not really about the diving. It's more about the community that we do and the friendships that we've got.
Isn't that everything?
It's everything.
Yeah,
that's the glue that keeps it all together.
Yeah, and the diving is just the thing that makes it cool.
It's the same thing with fishing. We talk about it all the time. Like the fish is a very small part of actually the entire action of going out fishing.
And that's what we're most proud of. We're most proud. We've made lifelong friendships. I mean, I know you've made lifelong friends. Even with the town, I mean, those people that all this stuff goes in there. And like I said, and that's where we thought the most value that we'd be able to get and get the biggest result was how do we be that rising tide?
Yeah.
Because if you focus on one person to do it, if she has to wait for me to be able to go diving with her, she'd be going on 1/10 of the number of dives or less that Sabrina goes on. So by opening this up and kind of making it more normalized and more accessible and making it where she can go when she wants, or any of those certified divers that we've had to get there, that's why we're blowing up and we're getting all these extra dives.
What great and amazing people.
Awesome.
Like I'm listening to you tell me about the whole Brad getting you going and everything. Like, what great and amazing souls these people
100%.
are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To just, and they've built their life around this. And one of those great and amazing souls is with us here. He's behind the bar. Like,
Carl.
You're a volunteer, right? So we need to give you some credit for all that stuff. And I know you're not like that, and you don't. That's not why you're you do anything. You know what I mean? But explain to me, like, because, you know, this goes back to the thing we always say around here with, like, you know, the money you'd win from the lottery is fleeting, but when you do good in your life and you give back to people, that lasts forever, and that's way more valuable for everybody, and it transcends more people than just one individual person. So, I mean, explain to me, like, what you see. Just give me your thoughts on the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to keep up with all these guys here. Seriously, you know? I mean, the stuff that they go through. So, I forget exactly when I met Joe, but I remember seeing a hat or a t-shirt and going to one of the music fests, you know, years ago. I think it was on the beach, right? Joe, you used to have one?
I think we were...
Probably at the plunge.
The music fest at the plunge when we had on the beach.
Okay, yeah, the plunge there, and just being like, you know,
the plunge.
I bumped into so many people that I already knew. And I'd already been doing a lot of it, you know, to some extent, you know, and been diving my whole life, and was like, hey, Joe, this sounds like right up my alley, you know? And then as soon as I went to my first DSE, really got in the water, see the kids, it just opened everything up for me. So, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have gotten into it and got certified, went through the whole process that Joe just kind of went through. So easy and convenient, and it's
a cool class, too, right?
What was your first time like? I mean, like your first time, like getting involved with this. I mean,
so,
take me through some of that.
So the first time getting in the pool at the Coral Ridge Yacht Club there, you know, not really sure what to expect, but I'd done some teaching with diving, and I'd been in certain environments with you know, I've done a little bit of everything, but not like all at once there. And so getting in the water, getting the kids comfortable, just interacting with them, just playing with them outside of the water is half the thing too. You know what I mean? It's not all about the diving. It's just about getting these kids immersed into something. And some kids connect right away. Some take a little bit more time. And for me, it was just a great way to be in the water, but also, again, help out and do what I can, you know, because every day I try to do just a little bit more, you know, help out.
That's great, dude.
But I'll tell you, the real heroes, man, are the people that come diving.
Sure.
Yeah.
And my kids are going to make fun of me.
Let's get emotional.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. No, I'm good. No, and the families. I mean, the families and the caregivers that come to this thing. I mean, it is really cool. The first time we actually went in the ocean on open dive, my daughter was 13. She's a buddy. My daughter and I were Dive Heart's first adaptive buddies. And, but you see people walk for the first time because it's weightless down there. We have dance parties, and then it was cool for me because my daughter was doing it too at a young age and all that. But the bigger thing is you see the it's great for them, and then the families saying, "Oh my God, he's walking, never walked before, hasn't walked since his accident," and just the smiles, not of the kids or the participants that come up, but their caregivers. It's just the joy that comes out of them and what they do.
Yeah, you know, Joe. Like, listen. For those people that don't know you, you're a highly intelligent individual. You've built rocket parts for a living. You had a very great career doing that. You know, and that's commendable in its own right. That the work that you've achieved on that level. I mean, I don't know if you want me to even mention any of the stuff you've worked with SpaceX and all this stuff, but I just want people to understand, you did it on like a really, really high level.
But nothing has been cool. I mean, I've been to SpaceX. Nothing as cool as watching someone come out of the water.
But that's what I'm saying, though. So I want to kind of say, like, you know, you took that energy and you could have just off and retired and just.
Off to the
just
Bahamas.
enjoyed your life for the rest of whatever.
No, he still does that.
But instead, you just couldn't settle on that. And what motivated you to really like take the torch and just run with this?
You know, I don't
his
think...
heart. He has such a huge heart.
Yeah, you know actually, maybe you should answer. That's probably better if you answer that because he's probably not going to want to.
Honestly, I think, and I have this conversation with a lot of our participants and the parents. I don't even think he realizes the impact he's done in this community. I really think he doesn't, because he does it so humbly and out of his kindness of his heart. And he loves the sport. You got to give him, you know, he loves being in the water. He loves fishing. He loves scuba diving. But it's the connection that he's made through this program with the participants, with the partners, the parents, and even people that don't dive. Like, that's huge too, because there's so many times that, you know, we come in contact with somebody. We're like, oh yeah, we know Joe. We don't dive. We'll never be in the ocean, but we know Joe through Scuba4Good. He's done, you know, the music festival, or he's helped a family member do some scuba diving. And I think that's the biggest thing, is he's the big connection between all of us.
I can attest. I mean, listen, Joe, we've only hung out a couple of times, and I feel like I've known you for years. I mean, you seem just like that kind of guy. You know, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Never met a stranger. That's for sure.
There's a lot to be said for that. That's awesome.
You know, it's just, again, though, I mean, it's just, I can almost say it's selfish because you're around so many good people, and we get so much out of it. You know, I don't go out there, run around, and say that stuff, but yeah, I sleep well at night, knowing that we're helping. But you know, it's really. But I'm telling you, it's the people like Sabrina. Sabrina, not only does she dive like crazy, she helps us. She runs the DSCs basically. You know, she does all this stuff. She's come in. You know,
now I have a huge passion for it. Like
Yeah,
you said, I do it for the participants.
So you went from not even wanting to do this to like 10 toes in, right?
Yeah,
you're like all in here.
Oh yeah, and I'm always saying, like, if I could find a way to make a career out of scuba diving right now, I would quit my job tomorrow and do it. Oh yeah, absolutely. If I could go diving every day, I love it. But unfortunately, gotta work.
Right.
But if I could find a way to do it, I love
grinding.
it. Yeah,
keep grinding. Maybe something's gonna happen with that.
One of the coolest times was on when we went up. It was up at Jupiter, right? And we went down, and you saw your first couple sharks.
Oh yeah,
actually, we went down. We're diving. Okay. And she goes,
Did that freak you out? I mean, when you first saw that?
No, it didn't actually. Not the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. I just, by then I had done a couple dives in Key Largo and had seen a couple, so never sharks, but I had seen a couple, so that was kind of fine. I was with him, so that was pretty cool.
But no, she comes up, and I'm like, you know, it's kind of like, again, it's, you know, I just kind of sit in the background, and she goes, you know, a year ago I was afraid to go in the deep end and see you as Santa, but today I'm down there and I saw a couple sharks, and you know, there's a bull shark down there. I think I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then not too long after that is when Brad took me to do my actual, like, a huge in Jupiter real dive shark. And I went with Tally and a couple people, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was surrounded by them all around, and
so take me through your elevator role then now with Scuba4Good. I mean, like, what do you
most of it?
Yeah, right.
No, I just help out as much as I can. You know, it's really like Joe said, it's the participants that make me do it all the time.
Right.
So every month I just help out to try to organize the DSE to get the volunteers out there, to get the participants. Trying to the hardest to get new participants to come out.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the new ones. Like, is it like?
Yes.
You have to, I'm sure you play an integral role of getting them to cross that bridge, right?
Yeah. So a lot of networking, a lot of going to, different disability events, and just hang out with my friends too.
Sure.
A lot of people that I hang out with love sports, and they like me, they want to try scuba diving. They're just a little bit scared. So my job is just to show them my videos and my pictures and how much fun I'm having,
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of come. So, and then sometimes I hold an event this past Saturday that was like a fashion show, talent show, and it was with a whole bunch of kids and adults with disabilities, and we got 4 of them to sign up for the DSC next month.
Oh,
so
cool.
just from me
the
talking
DSC
about
is,
it.
the Discover Scuba
the Discover Scuba, the pool.
So we do it at the Coral Ridge Yacht Club once a month. You can just, if you're anyone listening or knows anyone that has a disability, just go to Scuba4Good.com and you can sign right up for it. And then you just have to get a medical form filled out, signed by a doctor, and you come and try it out. So.
All our adoptive buddies come out, and they volunteer, and it's in a safe environment. And then once you have come to a couple of them and you like it, then you go on to get partnered up with a team, an instructor, and then you get certified. And then once you're certified, throw you out in the ocean, and you go on.
If anyone is interested in becoming, a buddy, like I was, again, it was so easy and fun, and just everything about it wanted me to do more. So just super convenient. Sign up, just go, and you'll be hooked.
Nice. And Lauderdale by the Sea, like, when you guys first started connecting here with Joe, I mean, take me through that process a little bit. Like, when did that first happen? Was with Bugfest?
So I've been with the town for 2 years now.
Okay.
So when I first started, the first year that I was there, we still had Bugfest. And so that's when I was introduced to the Scuba4Good team, a lot of their sponsors. And then, through the natural course of events, as, things progressed over the next year, is when we kind of looked at, if this was still the best fit for the town, or if it was time to open it up to a larger audience. And that's kind of where the Dive Into Summer Music Festival was born. Again, just saying that was the Bugfest was a spectacular event, a lot of fun, but it was targeted at a more niche demographic. You know, for people, a lot of locals that were participating in mini season. And we've had a lot of the residents, especially the people that stay with us through the summer and brave the heat. You know, they wanted things to do in town. They said, you know, just because the snowbirds are gone, we still are here. We want things to do. We want fun engagement. And so listening to a lot of that feedback, we said, well, you know, we could definitely take this. And, you know, I met with Joe and his wife and Sabrina and said, you know, how would you guys feel if we, you know, semi-hijacked this, but, you know, grew it to open it up
that,
to...
though. With you guys kind of merging into this and really supporting it, it's a lot to be said for that. That's cool.
Yeah, we actually, when we started doing the music, it started out as a party at my house. And I had a buddy come play the guitar.
I can see that.
Hit my friends up for money, and we raised like $5,000, and then we would just, you know, try to give to some of these organizations that were doing this stuff. And then we were going to try to do an actual music festival. Mark Zayden from Weedline, who can't do it this year because he's going to a wedding, you know. Weddings.
I know, that we keep telling him,
exactly.
cancel a wedding.
I know, exactly. But he's a big-time supporter, and he'll be there in spirit, and he'll be back next year with Weedline and those guys and all that stuff. But we were just going to do it at the park. And wait for the cops to kind of shut us down and be all rock and roll, you know, and just have people, because it got too big for my house.
True Joe style.
And true. And then
paint your face like Kiss.
Exactly. You know, we thought of the poster of us being arrested, you know, being hauled off. Right. Something, it would be cool.
What's that all about? I don't know, man. They like to dive.
Rolling Stone. So we, and then somehow it started picking up steam, and it was gonna. And then some friends got involved and like, oh, we can do a major music fest in Lauderdale by the Sea. And thank God Lauderdale by the Sea said, you guys don't know what you're doing.
Sounds like a lot of drinking was involved, I think.
Yeah, and thank God, 'cause it would have been the Fire Festival if we would have tried to do it on our own.
Right.
And then our buddy Rich, who works with us close, Rich Barnhart from Lauderdale by the Sea, he's on the Bugfest committee. And they're like, what can we add to Bugfest? And this was 7 years ago. And I said, well, what if we got music? And he goes, well, we wanted to do a music fest. We'll just do a part of Bugfest. And that's another thing. Like even with Bugfest and then now the dive in the summer is the Scuba4Good. Scuba4Good is the program from foundation of G4Good. And then we just try to help good people do good things. And our whole thing is just try to help things get better. So that's what we tried to do at Bugfest. We're like, hey, we're going to have a great event. We're going to get people to come there to make Bugfest better. And then hopefully we make Dive in the Summer better, right?
Absolutely.
You know, we do this stuff and bring it in. And we make Thresher better. And we make Dive for Vets better. And we make Aquanauts better. And all that type of stuff. And that's what the thing is. So, yeah, it started there. And then COVID shut us down for a little bit. We moved to behind the Plunge, and the Plunge Hotel in Lauderdale by the Sea. They were really cool to us and had it there. And then now it's we're getting legit now with Summer and Katie here.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing about the Music Fest is that it's about the music and the community when we really think about it. Yeah, it's, you know, Scuba4Good is a big part of it because that's where the money is going to be benefited. But it's really not really about scuba diving that day. It's about the village, you know, the community coming together, and we have like the food, we have all the local artists that are going to showcase their art, and then there's going to be vendors, music. So even if you love scuba diving or you don't, you just show up, there's something there that you're going to love, and it's very family friendly. So there's a lot of stuff, and especially this year we're going to have a kids zone, which is huge. So
cool.
We're going to be able to bring in, you know, all ages to have a blast. And that's really what it's about. It's about coming together. And for me, what I love the most is that the communication and connections that we're having. There's people that are going to come that have never heard of us or have never heard of one of the vendors. And then through the Music Fest, they'll walk around and they'll get to meet some people. And that's really cool. And then last year we had a couple people just show up off the street and be like, oh, I have a brother, a sister, an uncle that would love your program. And then they were at our DSE the next month, which is it's huge, you know.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then they got certified and they're diving. So that was pretty cool. And then we also had some people from out of state that were just in Lauderdale by the Sea on vacation, just happened to swing by and learned about us. So that now when they come down, they are now certified and they can just surf. So they're not locally here in South Florida, but they come down once a year. And so they'll just call us up or email us and be like, hey, I'm coming down. Well, they went through Treasure this week and just sent like a little on the WhatsApp. It was like, hey, I'm coming down for 2 weeks. Is there any buddies that I can go diving with? And like a list of buddies, like, yep, I'm available. And so it just comes, a really fun thing from all over. People just come down. So that's what the music festival is really all about. That I think, that I love about it is that it's much more than just the diving, and it's really about the networking.
That's like whole connected by water philosophy. It really comes down to, it's like, we've got this thing that's an art studio and podcast. A podcast basically is mostly about community and aspect, and that's really like the message that we want to kind of perpetuate and get out there. And that's one of the biggest reasons that we wanted to bring you guys on today, is just because like that fits the mold perfectly. We want to highlight people that are doing good in our community through water, through diving, through fishing, through all these different events and tournaments. And we love having we'll bring in like Lauderdale by the Sea and the city of Pompano and Deerfield, and the things that the cities are doing together, in that regard. And I absolutely love this and everything you guys are saying today.
Yeah, and if I had any foresight, like I was a manufacturing dude that got into running these things, if I wasn't some marketing guy, I would have probably not even done it at Scuba. We got the good part of the name right, because it's not, like I said, it's not really just Scuba. It's really the for good part, which is trying to go out there and make the community better, make the Lauderdale by the Sea better, make help people's families and lives, and just be good and have good people around to do that stuff. So that's and 100. By the way, and 100% of the money that's raised there goes strictly to fund a scholarship for an adaptive diver through one of our partners.
I wanted you to take me through all the details, if you would. You brought. Thank you for reminding me about that. So one thing I want you to explain about Scuba4Good and just how that operation works with the certifications and the buddies and the instructors, and take me through all the details of that. I think that's really important to lay that out.
Yeah, let me explain like what an adaptive dive is.
Yeah, please.
It's just cool. So we take any it's cognitive or physical disability. You can go diving, and you can start out in the pool. Some people don't leave the pool. It depends on their abilities, what we can do and stuff like that. But then we have instructors there. We have adaptive dive instructors. So they're all normal, either PADI, SDI, or whatever instructors. They take additional training to become an adaptive dive instructor. They'll assess when we're at the DSE what you can do. Can you go further? Can we get you certified? And then when that's a yes, then we hook you up with a partner and you get certified. But then adaptive dive, though, when you go out in the open ocean, it depends on your stuff. I think you need 2 buddies, right?
Right, I need 2, yeah.
Yeah, and there's several agencies. There's Dive Heart is a certification agency. SDI has Scubability. I think PADI has one. HSA. There's a few of them, and all the partners use different ones. But they all kind of come down to the adaptive diver. They go through their certification process. We try to get them to pass the standards of the certification body, and then the adaptive part comes in. If for whatever reason they can't do it, we have the buddies there to take that place. It's probably the simplest way to say it, to get them to pass. And then when you go on, then based on what's going on, that you can either go with 1 buddy, 2 buddies, 3 buddies, depending on, might need 2 of those buddies. One may need to be an instructor. There's all different levels. And then when you do a dive, like so when Sabrina's a rock star. She goes down there.
I'm like a good example of what the program is.
Okay.
To be honest, because like Joe was saying in the beginning, that's how I started. I just called up, did a couple sessions in the pool, like way before I even opened up the online portion of it. Maybe did what? I would say maybe like 5 months maybe in the water.
At least 5
or 6 months. And then finally after, spending 6 months with them, they're like, okay, you're ready to get out of the pool. And so, Joe, with Brad and Joe, they partnered me up together, and he was Brad was my instructor, and he gave me the online codes to go on there. I got certified through SDI. Okay. And so I just did the online portion. Once I finished that, then I went into training with Brad. And then that was just out in the water. I did, my first 2 dives with him. And then after that, you just constantly went diving. And then the way that it works, it's super simple, honestly. There's 2 ways to do it. well, I think there's more, but for me, there's two ways. So I either call one of the partners up. So for example, I can call up Trusher and be like, hey, do you guys have any dive coming? Which they do. So like this Wednesday, they're putting together a dive in Boynton. They rented a boat. They have a whole group of, adaptive divers or adaptive buddies. And then I just tell them I want to go. And I get on the boat with them. I don't have to pay anything. They'll take care of everything in the back. They'll either send in a sponsorship
or
through
subsidized
diving.
Different levels to this, though, right? Like with the buddies.
So an adaptive dive, typically, let's just say, like the typical one is you have an adaptive diver with 2 adaptive buddies. Okay. And let's say it's somebody like is a para, right? So they can't kick and they'll need some help swimming through the water. So normally there will be an adaptive buddy on the tank kind of driving, and then someone else swims in front of you to relay any kind of signs, because when you're behind them, you can't really see what's going on. Make sure, as you see the fear in their eyes, sometimes you have to be like,
you get that a lot? Not you, but
no,
you get a lot of people underwater. Like
by the time we're at that point, it's not there. We look more, hey, you might see some water.
So the
coming
comfort level's high and everything like that.
And we don't push.
And
anyone.
I just wanted to explain that for maybe someone who's listening that might want to get interested in this and maybe put them at ease.
On your first dive, like anybody, of course, on your very first dive, you're going to freak out. I'm not going to lie, I freaked out on my very first dive. But that's where the adaptive training for the adaptive buddy comes in. And that plays a huge role. When you go out, whoever you're with, regardless if you have a disability or not, the people that you're surrounded with is going to make a huge difference on your dive. If they're not comfortable, if they're stressed out, you're going to be uncomfortable and stressed out. So when you have an adaptive buddy team that is professionally trained and knows what they're doing, they will take you from panicking and not wanting to get off the boat to down to, okay, you got this. There's no rush. You can go at your own pace. And then they'll always tell you, diving is supposed to be fun. If you're underwater and you really are uncomfortable, call the dive. And I have never been partnered with somebody in any of our partners that told me, don't call the dive. I want you to dive. I want you to push yourself. No, they just tell me, the minute you're uncomfortable, call it. Let's go.
But that's normal diving.
And that's normal. Exactly. That's normal diving. So
the thing is you never dive what you're not comfortable with doing. You dive within your limits and all that comes.
But everyone makes it so comfortable that your fear just kind of goes away.
That's great.
Yeah.
You ever get underwater diving?
I was hoping no one was going to put me on the spot.
I've been thinking about this for the last 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to ask her. I'm like, should I ask her? Should I not ask her? I'm going to ask her.
It's on my bucket list for sure, especially, having gotten to spend so much more time with this crew here. I mean, the passion and the inspiration is certainly there. So it is high on my list.
My wife won't go in either. She likes to stay on top. She helps on the top.
I would love to. I have to make that time commitment.
My wife won't go either. So listen, I'll make a deal with you. If you want to go, I'll go with you.
Deal.
How about that?
Are you a diver?
Does that sound good?
Do you dive?
I am certified. I haven't been down in years, though.
But that's another good part about it too, is that I'm a diver and my family, my aunt and uncle, who I love to death, will not dive, but they love snorkeling. So we went out to Key Largo, what was it, like November, I think? And I brought like 7 members of my family. And I went diving. I was underneath and they were all snorkeling on top. And I went up a little bit and
That's
talked
cool.
to them. And that
must have been a cool moment.
Oh, that
right?
was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I got back on the tour and
That
everyone
must have made them real proud too.
Oh, they were all crying when I got back. I'm like, why are you guys crying? Like,
oh my God, that's so cool.
But it was cool because, Key Largo's not that deep. So they were able to see me dive. I was enjoying myself, doing what I do. And then they were up there and it was so much fun to be able to do that with my family, especially my family comes from Canada.
Right.
Most of them are from Canada. So to have them come down here
and
and
for them all around.
It was amazing. Yeah. And then,
and that's the part I love about it. I love watching
exactly.
the
And then on their side,
impressive.
they see me, with a disability doing something that they physically would not do. And a lot of times they'll tell me like, oh my God, like, I can't believe you just did that. I'm like, you can do it too.
I can only imagine, like, I mean, not to get too like personal about it.
Oh, you're fine.
If that's okay. But I can only imagine that when that happened to you, how helpless that made everyone else feel because they probably couldn't do anything for you, right? So I can imagine like that moment right there showed them the strength that you have, right, to overcome all this, or just say, listen, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm going to do this, and for them to join you in that. That's why I'm saying, man, that's exactly what I went back to that moment and fast forwarded to that moment.
Yeah. And I'm so happy you brought that up because this happened a couple times. And I know, Joe, I'm pretty sure you've seen this on a couple boats. When we go on regular dive boats, like at Jupiter or something, and I'm the only person in a wheelchair and everybody else is able-bodied, I always get the stares, and everybody's looking at me like, "There's no way this girl's about to dive." And then they, they see me get the gear, on and everything. And the way I get in and out of the water is much different than everybody else. And when they see me every single time, I swear, I come off, they're like, "That was so cool." Yeah. And I'm like, "Yeah, it is cool that I can do it." And underwater, my disability completely disappears. Like the able-bodied and the disabled people are exactly the same underwater.
That's outstanding.
And so I think that's what's really cool. And then when we get back on the boat, a lot of times I don't really need that much help to get back on the boat, but able-bodies are like, people are helping them get back on, and they're moving left and right. And I'm just sitting on the ground pushing myself back to my seat. I'm like, yo, falling all over the place. And so I think that's really cool. And when I dive with Joe, I know a couple of times Joe's like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, no, just take care of yourself. I can do it. And that's what's really cool, because especially when you have a disability, a lot of times I have to ask people for help. But when I go scuba diving, I rarely do. And that's really that I love the most about the sport.
Great. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it's
got to be liberating and freeing. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Big time. Yeah.
And just everything that Sabrina does. I mean, I know, what was it, when you were 12, you got hurt, but just the life that you run now, just outside of scuba diving, you're just so good to everybody. I mean, even that event you had this weekend and all the stuff that you did there, and you see. We sit around and, you find yourself kind of, grumping about stuff. And then, but you see, so many good people do overcome so much. And inspiring. It's inspiring.
Yeah,
it's inspiring.
Definitely.
The families, you'll see an unconditional love. Like we have kids, you and I, and that unconditional love with that, but you see the unconditional love between the family members and the people that are doing that, and words can't explain it. So it's pretty awesome.
It's wonderful.
That's why I say it's not the diving, man. It is.
Yeah,
it is. Just
because I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know what it's even remotely like, what you had to go through initially, and to get to that point. I mean, obviously difficult. You know what I mean? But and I just can't say enough. Just the good that you guys are doing to bring this and making that difference in people's lives, it's beyond measure.
Yeah, the program is amazing.
Beyond measure.
But I'll tell you what, I've had buddies and stuff that have come into the program, and they even say it's changed their lives because they see Sabrina and they see these people, and they come back and say this is just awesome and what they're doing and stuff.
That's what life's all about.
Yeah,
man. This is an example. It's like a microcosm example of just how the world needs to be.
But just be good
in general. Yeah. That's it. You know what I mean? This is just how people should be.
Yeah, when you boil it down.
We want to. We want to highlight it and spotlight it,
but it's easier to be good.
Oh yeah, look at you.
It's easier to do this.
Yeah,
it's easier to be good in life. And not I don't get all crazy, but it's harder to be a jerk.
Yeah. You could have said it though. It's okay. It's like, on YouTube we say not for kids, so it's all right.
Don't be a douche. Is what we say is it's easier not to be, and it's easier to see that because when you are doing this stuff, you see all these great people, and you live a life with all these great people around you versus
that is the biggest thing that I've learned in the 4 years that I've been doing this is the people. Every single person that I have met through this program have been amazing. It's like everyone's always happy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's some drama here and there. I mean, of course, but
drama,
nothing.
Spill the tea.
But no,
that's a whole other podcast.
We want clicks, man. We want clicks. Give it to
me. No, but just like anything, there's always something there. But in majority, everyone's super nice. And if you are having a bad day, and especially with people with disabilities, there's some really hard days mentally and physically, and my phone is loaded with people that I know if I'm having a bad day, I just pick up my phone, I will call, they will answer, and they're there for me. And again, it has nothing to do with scuba diving. It has to do with the community. And there's so many people that I have met through this program that just blows my mind how, that. And outside, like he just said, on Saturday, I had a huge event. Some of our participants that do scuba diving with us in the pool, they've never been in the ocean for many reasons, but one of them doesn't even speak. Will probably say 1 or 2 words. Very high on the autism spectrum, but will scuba dive amazingly. We'll get into that water, we'll pull the gear on, and off he goes, and he could spend at least an hour. Yeah. If we left him, he would spend all day in the water. But then on Saturday, I met him through the program. We had a talent show this Saturday. I found out from his mom that he did drums, and he was really good at it. And so this weekend he just went on stage and he drummed the heck out of the show. He was, I would say, hopefully nobody watches this, but he was one of the best. And again, this is a young, I would say, like early 20s, will never speak a word, but yet so much energy and love comes out of what he does. And that's the biggest reason why Scuba4Good is amazing, because we have that connection, outside of diving.
And it comes full circle, because we were there, and one
that
of the
was
participants,
cool. Yeah.
The very first person that, before we were Scuba4Good, when we were working with Dive Hard or G4Good, the very first scholarship person we paid for to get certified before we had the current program, was there, and it was my daughter was with them that got certified when she was like 15.
And he was a model in our show on Saturday, and I had no idea.
That's
and
awesome.
he had them at diving. We almost we got the family so nice, and we were just talking. We're like, man, what's going on with him? And is he, we should reach out. And then we see him there, and he's coming to the next DSC, wants to get a refresher, wants to get in the dive, and now with the program that we have, which is a lot more expansive. He's getting back, and it was like way cool. So it's just a big circle, and you bump into people. It's
outstanding.
Pretty cool.
I want to switch gears real quick. Just when you and I met last summer, we were just hanging out and just talking about all the great things that Lauderdale by the Sea kind of was planning or wanting to do and everything. And I just really got this great feeling from you guys that it's this community little town that's just deciding to just take the reins and just do like the right things in the community, and I really, really admired like all the things you guys were saying and all the plans you guys had coming up. Can you kind of elaborate on some things beyond just the dive event that you guys have going on?
Sure. I mean, so this is our town's 75th anniversary year, so It's a big year for us. So we've been excited already this year. We had our Taste of the Beach event, so we brought in a lot of the restaurants from town and some of the neighboring areas, and had some live music. Mike Daly played with us there. So that was a really special way. That was an event that hadn't been done in town in 8 years or so. So we wanted to bring that back as kind of an homage to what a lot of our long-term residents, loved and missed. So that was really cool. A really special night. We've got some of our annual events that are coming up. So Dive into Summer will kick us off in June. July 4th, we do a big parade, family fun day, fireworks. So that's an all-day affair. But also another, really fun way to highlight all of these businesses and residents, and Scuba4Good participated in the parade last year. So just to continue to bring everyone together, and kind of that whole point of, once you've connected once, that branches out into so many other aspects. So, so that we're really looking forward to the 4th. We've got Boo by the Sea, which is our big Halloween event. That's definitely more kid focused, but really sweet. We do that in the West Plazas. So they go kind of business to business and have games and treats and entertainment. We'll also be doing a Founders Day event this fall. So October 5th is when that just got scheduled for. So that'll be another day that is really focused on the Lauderdale by the Sea community. The founding families, we're hoping that they can all attend and be a part of that and really make it special. So, and then Veterans Day is always, a really emotional, special ceremony for us. And then we'll kind of close out the 75th celebration, so to speak, with our Christmas by the Sea tree lighting.
Yeah, that's always such a great event, that tree lighting
Thank
thing.
you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That one gets a big crowd. So, you know, a lot of fun to be had for the remainder of the year. So,
Awesome.
We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I love everything that the town's done to improve the amenities and you know and just keep the town upkeep. I mean, the place is looking good.
Thank you.
know?
Yeah, I think
Right?
you know,
and Yanni is a resident over there, you know, Lauderdale by the Sea. So
Yeah,
he kind of tells me all about a lot of the different things that are going on in and out of the town. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and accessibility too. Like, huge thank you to the city for that, because every event, you know, is accessible. They have a beach wheelchair, so whenever I want to go to the beach, I just
cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. You just call up the city hall and like, hey, I'm going to the beach. I need the beach wheelchair. They'll bring it out to you. You know, commercial
See, that's
boulevard.
what I mean, like
Everything is
hometown cozy things.
Super,
It's like
yeah.
it's not stuffy.
Super fun.
It's not
like
like
a little piece of Mayberry tucked away.
Yeah,
in,
right.
Yeah,
in South
exactly.
Florida, you know.
well, we
So-
do have the Moby Mat at El Prado.
Exactly.
We put in. We're in the process of applying for some grants so that we can get some additional mats put in at other beach portals. So, you know, fingers crossed that we can get some of that pushed through. And, you know, I was going to say, when you mentioned your family, I went down to Largo. I'm like, you have to bring them to town sometime.
Yeah.
We've got the Anglin snorkel trail that's, you know, just 10 feet offshore, so they don't have to worry too much. And the Copenhagen shipwreck, that's a big draw. So, still something for everyone,
Yeah.
whether they want to venture in or not. But
Nice.
Yeah. And that's what's cool. It's right in our backyard. Like, that's the most amazing thing. Like, you know, you don't have to go on a boat to go scuba diving. Just get your gear and
Yeah.
That
walk,
is true.
rock
This
out
is like
to the
that is
beach.
like one
Yeah.
of the best beaches to go off
Beautiful.
diving on.
yeah, we're really proud of the designation, so to speak, you know, not just here in South Florida, but statewide and beyond, because we do get so many international guests that come through to really have developed a name for the town as a shore diving destination. So we've got the Datura Ave Beach Portal has the tank bench, so you can put your gear on easier and just waddle on out into the water. You know, the trail right there, you know, is so close. And, you know, we've had just such an incredible abundance of marine life that has filtered through, and you know, we're just seeing more and more of it. Some of our coral restoration efforts are really paying off, so it's been, you know, a lot of good.
That's great. No, I'm glad you're
come
talking
lately,
about that
so-
stuff. Yeah, for sure.
That's where our
Yeah.
first beach dive was, actually.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
that I
we
think
went
about
off-
it.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Can you talk a little bit more about the coral restoration efforts, or is
I wouldn't want to misquote you. It was
Yeah,
a little
okay,
bit
don't
before I
have to.
started,
Don't
so
have to.
unfortunately, I wasn't.
That's okay.
I wasn't full all in when that really started, but I know we've garnered an incredible partner with NSU. We're looking at, you know, what some future projects might be able to hold so that we can continue that, because it's such an important part of our, you know, our legacy and our backyard. And so it's something that we are going to continue to look into rejuvenating and continuing to grow.
Yeah, I love that you guys are working with NSU and getting that done, because as we all know, our reefs need a lot of help. You know,
Yeah.
and I think it's important to bring it up, especially on this episode. I mean, what are we about? Was it a 2 to 4% right now of where we should be? You know, out of 100, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Scary.
You know, I mean, I think, you know, the efforts that people are trying to make with outplanting and you know, just education and you know, restoration and preservation and all that of our coral reefs is really, really important. And I don't think enough work can be done in that realm at this point. So I'm so happy that the city of Lauderdale by the Sea is getting proactive about
We'll come
that.
on another episode once we've got that project underway.
No problem. No problem. We can do actually a whole episode on that for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Scuba for Good. I mean, what's next?
Yeah, well,
Where do you see this going?
Yeah, you know, it's really we had the program.
I mean, it's
we
incredible
have,
now. You don't have to change a thing, I'm sure, but like,
no, the cool thing about the program is, it's all we do is we have our Discover Scuba event where it's scheduled every month. Anybody can come to it, including our partners. So it's a way to.
Where do you do that?
Coral Ridge Yacht Club.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go to Scuba4Good.com. In fact, all this is on Scuba4.com. And what we do is we found the niche in our little area, which we think blew it up, was we provide scholarships for adaptive divers, their buddies, and we subsidize the dives. And it's an extremely simple but widely effective program, and it is easily scalable. Right. If I wanted, we could take it to more dive shops, more partners. Today at the golf tournament, I think it's Project 22. They want to get some of their vets with disabled vets and do it. It's very scalable. And the big thing, though, it's a chicken or the egg thing. It's like anything else. It's a function of the amount of money that we can bring in. Yeah. So come to the Music Fest. 100% of that money that we raise at the Music Fest. Last year we raised. It was about $75,000, and we gave out $75,000 in scholarships and subsidized dives last year. We're on pace to do about 90 this year, so we need.
But we want 100.
We need. No, I'm talking about what we're giving out, and we're not even in the summer yet, so we need the 100 at the music festival to come in there. So, and every penny, G4Good handles all the administrative and all that type of stuff. So, 100% of the money that comes in will either be for a scholarship or to pay for someone to go dive in with a disability. It's extremely there and scalable. So as the music festival grows and it gets bigger and bigger, and we can bring some stuff in, it's either get more dive shops, more groups involved locally, but we can expand this thing out through the state and eventually go national. I mean, we're not, it's simple. Anyone can do it. But and if we can share it with anyone else, how they do it to get it going, because again, our goal is just the more bottom time we get with people with disabilities. That's all we really care about.
We get a lot more adaptive divers too. Like that's my goal for me personally too. I always tell Joe I need more friends in the water with me. But I think that's one thing this year that I really want to focus on is to get more people out there and to get certified and for them to enjoy the sport.
We've got most of them certified now, so actually we do. We're out there. So I think I saw somewhere it's like 1 in 4 people have a family member or something with a disability, or if that's right, or something like that. But then I bet you if you have friends of people that have, it's probably even more. Tell people to check us out, come in there and no pressure. Like we even say, just come to the pool and see it. See what we're doing at the pool. You don't have to get in if you don't want to. And if you do, there's, you have to get in the water. It's just real chill, man. And whatever you guys can do and whatever everyone's comfortable with. But usually once they get in the water and they pop up, you see the smiles, everyone's there. And they're like, what do I do next? And then they're kind of hooked.
They're hooked.
But that's it. So next, it's it's a pretty, the beauty of this, we've tweaked around with it. That's why we say, the last 2 years is when we officially made the Scuba4Good program that we currently have now. It's just keep looking at what works, and this works, as I was saying. I mean, we'll definitely be well over 200 dives this year. By the end of the year. And we can, be 300, 400, and that's really all. We probably won't go much out. Another small thing that we're doing on the side is, we need to get way into it, but I'm looking at actually taking it not just from the disabled community, but also to I think it's like the underserved community, people without that, and look at doing something very similar to help that. Use Scuba to make us cool, right? To go out there. But have the adaptive divers to be some kids that are, getting the age that might not have the opportunity. The adaptive buddies would be like mentor buddies and people that can bring industry and kind of talk to these guys about, hey, there's one of the guys we work with is the president of a hospital, and he's like, there's tons of jobs for these kids to go out there. So look for a way to try to work with some groups that
foster
kids, these groups that do that, like we say, come in and help them, with a program, bring in, people in industry that like to dive too, and then see if we can try to get these kids when they age out of some of these programs that they have and they get to 18, 19, and use that as a springboard to get, hopefully get some jobs and move on and go after the American dream, So that would, and again, Scuba just makes us cool. you know, to go in. There's fun. You know, you don't have to sit in a classroom or something like that. You know, we get to be out on a boat, on the water, do something never done before. And then again, use that community that it builds to try to affect and help people.
And that's what's cool too, is like a lot of the people that I dive with that, you know, diving is the sport, but they're captain of a boat. So that's like what they do it, you know, every day. They captain a boat. People that work at a dive shop, or they'll work at a
Carl's
dentist.
a dentist.
You know, so it's kind of like really awesome that
and a bartender.
Yeah, and a bartender.
A pretty poor one at this point. But
you know,
you guys are.
We have like doctors, and we
Yeah.
you know, one of our not participant, but one of our adaptive buddies, she's a doctor. You know, so it's like really cool that the sports brings us together, but then everybody has all kinds of different, you know, activities that they do, and that's really cool. And that's what's great about, you know, like if we got a kid from foster care to come and participate in our program, who knows, he might get a license to become a captain on a boat, and then, you know, in 2-3 years he's running this big yacht. You know, and he's also diving on the side for fun, like that.
But they can also become buddies to take people with disabilities. So there's someone that's getting help, giving help back, you know, and kind of gets that circle. Would be really cool. So we're looking to do a pilot program this year, hook up with find a group that we can hook up with and get that going. So,
well, you know, you have Connected by Water's full support, so we're definitely going to be getting more involved 100%. With you as things progress. So we already discussed
we appreciate
that. So,
absolutely.
And we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
we really are. So and excited about it, because you guys are really truly making a difference.
Thanks.
And we believe in you. Right, we believe in you guys, and thank you. Everyone here at this table is and even the guy behind the bar,
always keeping the drinks going.
Are extremely special.
I'm the only one drinking
individuals, and, you know, and just you guys are incredible.
Thanks.
And it's, you know, each and every one of you. It's an honor to be sitting at this table.
But it's the people that
stop. Let me say these things. Let me say these things.
Come on, Joe.
I know. My wife tells me take the win every once in a while.
Here's a sandwich. Eat it. It's a good sandwich.
True. Okay, I'll shut up. It's hard for me to shut up, though.
Thank you is what I'm trying to say. Right? Thank you for making a difference in the community. Thank you for, you know, just doing good.
Thanks.
Right, we always say,
that's it.
We always say with the Starbright, we got the do-gooder of the week. You know, people that clean up trash and everything like that. But it goes beyond that too. You know, Team Do-gooder isn't just about conservation. It's about making a difference in your aquatic community, and that's what you guys do.
And we all know
that's us as Connected by Water. That's what Connected by Water is all about, the whole philosophy of it. You know what I mean? It transcends so many different things. You know what I mean? And it brings everybody together.
Right.
You know,
and
that's
good
what
comes
it's
out
doing
of
here.
it.
And
it
good
helps
comes out
people.
of it.
Yeah.
Nothing but good. More good than bad.
Yep.
Right?
100%.
For example, right, the bad is those kids that dumped all that trash in the water, right?
Yeah.
But look how the community kind of
came together.
instantly
and hopefully those kids
came together.
Hopefully, you know, they're young, and hopefully they learn from it and go on and move on.
I heard an interview this morning. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up on this episode. Those kids don't really deserve the airtime. But I heard Rodney Barretto was on with Joe Rose on the sports radio this morning on the way to the golf tournament. I was listening to it. And Rodney Barretto basically put it the best. He's like, listen, he goes, they're going to get punished. They're going to get their community service hours. Their dad's going to get talked to. There's going to be things that are going to happen. No one's going to get jail time. No one wants to give these are 15, 16-year-old kids. You know what I mean? But they are going to be made an example of, because it's an important thing. You know what I mean? The world is watching. You know, so we need to do that. But
And
at the end of the day, I hope more.
Hopefully something good.
I bet you more good will come out of this than bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? In some weird way, I think that it's raising awareness. In a weird way.
It brings more, because people see that when we go diving. There's a lot that a lot of people don't see.
People don't see
all the changes with the coral reef and all the trash that's actually under the water. So it's like,
so
I hope that now,
I don't even hope. I think it's actually going to do a lot of good. You know what I mean? Because it's really going to shine a light on.
And other environmental issues there too.
You know what I mean? Or not only just that, but even the little things. Like we always say, like just you can start small.
We know
if you see trash on the ground and there's a garbage can nearby, pick it up and throw it away.
And even for them too is a life lesson, and hopefully they're going to learn from it, and also maybe even learn so much that now they're going to think about it and be like, oh wow, my little mistake,
I'm glad my
affected
life
so much
didn't
more.
hit the national news.
Hey, listen.
I'm so happy TikTok was around.
Thanks, social media.
But thank God Wavy Boats was there.
I know.
You know, we always make fun of the Wavy Boat thing.
At the end of the day, though,
something good finally came out of this.
We all know good. We know what good and bad is, and we don't always make the right choice, but you know when you don't. And if you just kind of keep saying, it works, and you end up being around good people, and it just grows. And it goes
a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah,
yes, it does.
And everybody pulling together, doing their little part makes a huge difference.
And and another thing I like to say too, because there's a lot of people that don't dive, and I have a lot of people come up to me and they go, "Oh man, I wish I just don't dive. Wish I could do something." There's. We like to look at the bad, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, what went viral was the kids throwing trash off. But Sabrina, how cool would it be if Sabrina went? Her diving and seeing those sharks goes viral, right? The good.
Yeah.
There's so much more good than the bad that's going out there. And if you just look, you don't have to even look that hard. And if you want to get involved in something, we'd love for you to get involved. Definitely come to the music festival and buy some raffle tickets, buy some VIP tickets.
Do the raffle for me.
Yeah, come buy stuff at the bar.
When is the
June 1st. June 1st, 3 to 9.
Can we buy tickets in advance?
Yeah, Scuba4Good.com. You go on there. There's a little link that says Music Fest Info. You can get VIP tickets, which would be open bar, food, a bunch of other amenities inside of that. The bar will be there. Raffle tickets, like I said, trip to Bonaire. We got some art. We got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Maybe you can donate something. I think.
Maybe I can.
Yeah, there you go.
Put me on the spot, Joe.
I hear you know a pretty good artist. No, and then so definitely come there and check that out. And even if you don't buy anything, just show up, because the more people that come, the funner it is, and it'll make next year's even better and all that type of stuff.
The price is right.
Price is
it's
right.
a free event to attend.
Yeah.
You don't have
So
to
the money, our hope is that the money all goes towards this incredible cause and the other community groups that we have there. So,
but after you do that and do good for us, any passion or anything you like to do, I guarantee you you don't have to start something. I guarantee you there's a group out there that is, if you like the horseback riding, I guarantee you, I don't know one, but I'll bet you if you just Google it, there's someone that takes people with disabilities horseback riding, disabled vets, or kids, that are disadvantaged. Just look. And there's tons out there. So, we've built this community, but there's a lot of other people out there doing the exact same thing. You just got to look.
My uncle, when God rest his soul, when he was alive, my cousin Rick was a quadriplegic, and he started what was called Happy Handicap Artist Painting Productions in U. And then you should have seen some of the paintings that the organization is no longer, because both of them were no longer with us, and the organization just didn't continue on. It was such a great order. I'm sure there's other organizations out there like that.
There's so many.
I guarantee you. Yeah.
So
so that's just the thing, just like, thanks for the compliments and stuff, and the people and the guys that work with us do a lot of good stuff. But there is so much more good going on out there. You just got to look. And you don't have to look that hard.
No, and I always tell
there's
people.
There's way more of it than the bad. And so that's just look.
Well, listen, it's just like when you get the report card, you get straight A's and 1B. The first question everyone asks, what'd you get the B in?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
No one wants to know what you got all the A's in.
Yeah,
exactly.
And clicks happen on the bad stuff.
Exactly.
That's the way I guess we're wired, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So listen, thank you guys very much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for having
Everybody,
us.
please support Scuba4Good and all the good that you guys do. If you are interested in becoming a diver, becoming a buddy, please reach out to them, and you'll be met with open arms.
100%.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Social
Scuba4Good.com. You can click on Contact Us. It'll send emails to me and Sabrina and Rich and the guys that are there. We'll come back to you, and or just show up to the DSC, sign up to come to one, and we'll see you there. Let's go dive.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you. Lauderdale by the Sea, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Laura, I'm calling you a city now.
You're
You're the entire town.
On behalf of.
Thank you guys.
No, thank you for having us. We're really excited for the event. So
Awesome.
June 1st.
June
June
1st.
1st.
Cool.
Be
We're
there.
going to end this like we always do, right? Your ego is not your amigo. Always do your best. And at the end of the day, just let God do the rest. And do not ever forget that no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're all connected by water.
Hell yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Scuba4Good.
Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Cheers, Carl.
Cheers, guys.